Hey guys and gals, X.A.N.A here, and I'm here to talk about the Legion Go. Okay, so my thoughts and opinions on this handheld. Versus a while ago, I talked about the X.A.N.A 2021 model. And let's just say here that it leaves a lot to be desired nowadays, because frankly the processor is kind of weak now, and the best part with this versus that, I mean, you got a trackpad here, okay? This extra side button here, which is for the mouse in FPS mode, which normally does this double as a mouse. I mean, I ain't gonna pop the disc out, but basically play like this, okay? But I mean, this also has gyro, which is great for first-person shooters. Have that always mapped for the right stick control. And let's just say here, this thing is one of the best handhelds I've ever had. And FPS mode. Well, not just a good option for when you don't want to break out a full mouse and keyboard, but you still want to get down with, you know, some Call of Duty, some Valorant, Fortnite, like I care. Or, in my case, good old classics like Unreal Tournament, Quake, Duke Nukem, and Doom. It works great for those. But that's not the only thing with FPS mode that you can use it for. So for the keyboard emulation side of things, you can go into the Legion Space app and map these controls to any key on the keyboard and any mouse click that you want. I guess I forgot to charge this. Ran it dead. But played some Modern Warfare on the PS3 emulator, which actually works flawless on here. But like, let's just say here, you know, you want to play some good old classic OG Duke Nukem side scroller, or Commander Keen, or Jazz Jackrabbit, or hell, even the original Wolfenstein 3D, or even the one that came before that, the OG Wolfenstein. You can actually basically program these all. You don't even have to use the mouse point. And FPS mode, let you play those DOS classic platformers and FPSs in handheld mode. Yeah, you won't be able to use the right stick, because the right stick gets replaced by the mouse sensor. But for your classic side scrollers on PC like Jazz Jackrabbit, Duke Nukem, and Commander Keen, it is so perfect. And definitely feels better. As someone who kind of grew up on consoles, I mean, granted, at a daycare I was at, they had an old 486 DOS PC with a front loader that had Commander Keen on it that I played the living crap out of back in the day. And yeah, well, keyboard controls are great. But as someone who grew up on console with, you know, the NES and Super Nintendo, and for me, the Game Boy, you know, I mean, I did play some NES and Super NES back in the day as well, but going from, you know, my directionals being here to here was like, but with this, I can have the D-pad perfectly work for Commander Keen. And then set these to jump, shoot, inventory, what have you. And it worked perfectly. So I guess in the next part, I will show you some footage of me playing these beloved classics on here. And show you what that's all about. Now, while I really love this device, even more than the Neo, and the good thing is with Lenovo at least, I'm actually able to purchase the battery directly from them on their website for a replacement battery for this. Neo, though, they only have the option for like their newer devices past the first model. And the battery is underneath this. And this is way simpler to get into, only 6 screws here. Versus the like 9 or so on the back and one on top, one on bottom. They're like itty bitty for the Neo. But the one, okay, there's 2 criticisms I have for this. One being, I think, even though it hasn't happened, thankfully, with everybody that I know of who has a Legion Go, including myself, the SD card hasn't fried. The SD card slot hasn't died, unlike the ROG Ally. Now, I know they just came out with the Ally X, and hopefully we don't hear the same story from that model, but because of all those stories of the Ally having SD card problems, that was one of the few reasons I decided to go with this instead. The screen, amazing. There might be a little bit of screen tearing, but it's like nothing that I can notice. So, now, my favorite way to play this, if it's not handheld mode, I love playing in tabletop and being able to do this. Okay? Yeah, this is a little bit harder to do. But just like the Switch, bam! And then you're playing like this. Okay? And I can play Call of Duty 4 on the PS3 emulator like this, and play like I would the Wii version. Just better graphics and actually full-on better control. But that's like my favorite thing. These are a little bit on the harder side. I know they had to go a different route to get these to come out the way they are. Especially to avoid any possible lawsuits from the Nintendo legal ninjas. But that's one of 2 criticisms. The other one I have, the SD card slot could move down here. You have plenty of room here. But I'd say the same thing goes here for this USB-C port on the bottom. Now, I am thankful there are 2 USB-C ports, one on top, one on bottom, so I could plug up here and stay powered on even in tabletop mode. But when I want to dock this, I kind of wanted to use this in the dock that came with my Neo. Problem is, it's all the way over here when, no, honestly, they could have put the bottom port like right here. That's my one criticism. And by the way, these extra kickstand dealies aren't on here by the OEM. I stuck those on myself because of Nintendo DS and 3DS emulation, and also because I like to draw, and so then I could kick these up Probably not the most stable service, but there you go. And then you get your capacitive touch capable stylus, like your S Pen or whatever, and draw. So this thing's good for artists on that regard. And also, take the controllers off, and then, it's a bit heavy, but you also got yourself a good ebook reader. So if you want to, load up your Kindle or digital comics app, or, read through a PDF, what have you, great there. But yeah, those are my main two criticisms, is the bottom USB-C port and memory card slot placements. Because frankly, everything else about this device, I love it. So, next on to the footage of ye olde classics being controlled with a gamepad via the FPS mode, which, like I said, good thinking, Lenovo. Now I don't have to try to pay extra for ReWASD or try to get Joy-to-Key to work. See you in the next part, where I show you the benchmarks. Okay, so we had a little bit of a scare involving this. So, as you see here, we got it mapped as such for Commander Keen and Duke Nukem and Jazz Jackrabbit. So, if this phone tripod would cooperate with me. Thanks. We'll hop out of Legion space. Here. Let me pause for a second and we'll get into Commander Keen. Alright. So you see here. So that's normal gamepad mode. Now we'll switch to FPS mode here. Alright. And now you'll see here. I'm not playing that great, but yeah, there you go. And so basically, like if I want to play a different DOS game and it has a different control scheme, just jump back into Legion space. By putting it back into gamepad mode. So in my case, I actually have all these swaps, so that way that's plus, that's minus, equivalents, or start and select on Nintendo Switch. But then you basically just go back to Legion space here, and then you can just swap the key config around. and then hit it again. You know, I had to tab back into your DOS game. Or basically, look up the keyboard bindings beforehand. And you can have 3 different profiles set for FPS mode. And there you go. Anyways, next we will show this with some classic FPS. Yeah, I didn't think of putting this back on FPS default, which I should have. But yeah, as you can see here, works perfectly fine. Not playing my absolute best here, but obviously, especially at this angle. But yeah, as you can see, I can bunny hop and do all that stuff. So yeah, there you go. And this is why I love the Legion Go. Now, I had a little bit of a scare earlier because this thing wouldn't power on during the first part. Tried a bunch of plug-in stuff. Went on the phone. Nice guy when answered for Lenovo Ultimate Support. And, you know, was gonna send me a box and everything to send this thing in. And sure enough, after I get off the phone with the tech help, I swear, it's the technician's blessing, folks. And for those, well, some people call it the technician's curse, but I call it the technician's blessing. Reason I say this is because the minute you call for tech support, and then the thing just ends up working. But I will give Lenovo this over X.A.N.A. The factor that I can call someone and get an immediate answer for tech support is bar none the best part. So, excellent customer support, although I haven't sent this thing in yet, obviously. But, yeah, I will probably make a call back to them here shortly. I don't know. Yeah, that problem I was having earlier, yeah, it fixed itself. So, anyways, 5 out of 5 stars. Actually, 4 out of 5, just fix the 2 things, maybe a tiny bit better speakers, and you don't need to change the screen size. I heard about a newer model that's supposed to have a 7-inch screen instead of this 8.8, but let's just say here, yeah, I love this thing the way it is. Other than the USB-C port on the bottom. But, yeah. Thanks for watching, folks. And sorry for the really ghetto cam setup, but hey, it's what I got. So, and was it worth the $750 or $760 something? after tax that I spent on this thing? Hell to the yeah. So, especially being able to play Quake 3 in its full form on the go. I mean, this will be easier. This and a little dongle is easier to take to LAN parties than a full desktop setup, or even a clunkier laptop. Okay, I know Lenovo has the Legion laptops, but they are so bulky. Plus, having to take those things out at TSA check-in, or check-through. Don't have to do that with this. It's small enough that they don't even care. So, hey. Y'all get an A from me. So, peace out, folks.